Well, hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. It's funny, isn't it? It's still a little while until Gavin and Stacey hits our screens. Really looking forward to it. The Christmas special, the final one in the series. But Johnny, although you're not in this series, Olwyn is, but you're getting the calls from various stations already.
Yeah, I got a call yesterday from Radio Essex, BBC Radio Essex. How they got hold of me, I do not know. There's plenty of people in the programme, and they wanted to talk. I said, well, I can't tell you what it's about. I don't know what it's about. The part, I know Owen's part, but I said, I can't tell you that either.
Yeah.
But they only send you the little bits, I said, because they don't want it to be, leaked out.
Yeah.
So I said, somebody probably leak it sooner or later, but I said, I'm not going to do it.
No, I don't want to spoil it, do you? Nobody wants to spoil it, do they? You want to just
like... fun it, yeah. I think it's this thing about, will she marry him or won't she,
Yeah.
And they're trying to work it. She looked sad, perhaps she's not getting married.
Maybe she's looking sad because she is getting married.
Yeah. So there we are, that's that bit. Yeah, we were talking for ages. I mean, they were surprised. They knew I'd done 2 parts. They said, I'd done 3. I said, I'm a man of many parts, I said. A disc jockey, a bingo caller, and a cafe owner. Do you know what? I did a show years ago. Do you remember a show called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum?
Yeah. That's the one that took you to the West End, wasn't it?
That's right. Well, I did the national tour of it. With Dave King took over from the main role, and I think Kenneth Connor directed us, and Charles Hawtrey. It was a good cast, And I was playing the part of a protean, which means a man of many parts. See? Because 1 minute we'd be a eunuch, and next minute we'd be a servant. So that was it. And we had 13 changes in the first half. So they sort of furnish us with like long johns and like calm thing to soak up the sweat, because we were literally wringing wet.
Wow.
I'd enter one side of the stage, do a scene, and then run round the back as fast as I could. And they'd change me quick, and I'd come on to somebody else.
Yeah. Now, for people who don't understand this, I saw something on social media the other day when they did one of these quick changes. I mean, you have people there ready with your bits and bobs.
Oh yeah, there's two or three people there. One's got the trousers, one's got the shirt. You're just jumping into your clothes,
Wow.
Mine, that was a big production. I mean, that was great. When you're in a big production like that, you're looked after.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd go from like Manchester Palace straight to Liverpool Empire. So the next day, you'd arrive and all your stuff had been washed and hung up in your dressing room.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Oh.
It was proper looking after you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I suppose you either do the whole... I remember Michael Bogdanov, he used to say, sometimes it's a hat and nose job. when he could be a different person,
Like, he's just sticking your hat on.
1 minute that's Mal Pope, and then that's somebody completely different, and then they stick a funny nose on, and it's like, it's that sort of thing.
Well, sometimes people play different parts, don't they? They take on 2 parts in a play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's theatrical licenses they call it.
Well, yeah. It's
talking
also
about theatricality.
Yeah.
What do you reckon to Trump suing the Labour Party? I've heard it all now. I've heard it all.
Oh man, it's 2 weeks, isn't it? We just got 2 weeks.
Yeah, but the thing is, you see, I mean, I don't know what you think, but if you send over people to like campaign on the other side, if he gets in, he's not going to have a very good relationship with Trump, is he?
I think it's best to keep out of everything.
Keep out of it. Keep out of it.
Keep out of politics, religion, anything like that.
Oh,
just keep quiet about it now,
all.
Johnny. Otherwise,
I mean, my mother was a Catholic, so she had different views to me.
And the funny thing, I mean, I'm not, because this is the way a lot of people are, but I spent all morning trying to work out, because I've got a Christmas record coming out, Johnny. I can't tell you anything about it, because it's a bit like, the story behind Gavin and Stacey. I can't tell you. But I've been trying to organise, I've spent hours trying to organise the venue, the cast, the cameras, and the lights, and nobody realises, you're just trying to do your best, aren't you?
Well, that's right.
And
you got to do your best,
and then then all of a sudden it's all. Anyway, some little things can knock you off course. I'm not going to let it, Johnny. I never let anything knock me off course.
Don't let it knock you off course. Just don't go bankrupt in the attempt.
Who's been talking?
I remember they said about Dorothy Squires, she'd be renting the Kremlin next to make an album, and you are the blinking same. You are.
Funny you should mention that. Okay, so that's good. That's good about being, because the thing is, I suppose they can't. None of the cast could say yes, could they?
No.
The present cast, they would be. So it's great because you've seen it and you've known Ruth. Well, since she was.
I've known Ruth for 17 years.
Wow. Yeah.
The first series was 17 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And funny enough, I mean, I did before the first episode. I didn't know who she was, and I go in. I'm sitting next to her in the makeup tent, or the makeup caravan as we had then. And she says to me, "Well, thank you for doing this for me, John. Like I'm doing her a favour." I said, "Well, it's a pleasure." Anyway, it turned out that she'd worked for Stan. I think you must have told you that.
Yeah.
She'd worked for Stan Stennett as a kid, and that's how she got her equity card and that,
Yeah, treat people well on the way up because you'll meet them again on the way down.
That's right. That's exactly it. I remember meeting a bloke who was this assistant stage manager.
Yeah.
And when I was doing a musical in the West End, and I was like one of the top billing, right?
Yeah.
It was Cameron McIntosh.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. I got a letter from him. I sent him a letter talking about, I just found the program.
Yeah.
This show I'd done. It wasn't a great show, to be honest.
Okay.
And he said, I always remember that. He said, I remember one of the write-ups. It said, one of the best material in this show is when the curtain came down at the end.
Oh, no.
But he was the runner on it, and he ended up, he started as a stage hand, of course,
Yeah.
and then he ended up as Lord and owning half of the blinking theatres in Britain.
Isn't that amazing?
But good on him, I say.
Yeah. And then, of course, that's going to happen more and more here in Wales because there's so many TV shows and you get runners, working out as kids, and then all of a sudden they become directors, and then they're head of things.
You got to start somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere.
Everybody comes from somewhere, whether it's a small town or a big town. Everybody starts. You're right.
Exactly. What's up for you next then, apart from your Christmas record?
Well, I'm actually just listening through because we multi-tracked all the concert.
All right, the one you did in Swansea the other week.
Swansea Arena. So I'm having a listen back to that now, just sort of like trying to make that sound nice, and I'm pleasantly surprised, Johnny.
And you're going to put it out as an album, are you?
Oh, I couldn't do that. Could I? Oh, what a great idea. No, so that's not. I haven't listened, but we did film it as well. So it's like not like we didn't get lots of massive camera rigs, but the nice thing is, so Owen Paul, who came down.
Yeah.
You're my favorite waste of time. Anyway,
that's right.
He got the crowd going, but he's got a new single out, which is in the Heritage Chart. And it was number 2 in the Heritage Chart last week. And I thought, well, I'll actually put a little video together of our live recording. And actually, the live recording sounded pretty good. Andrew Griffiths on a penny whistle, like Nigel Hopkins on accordion. I played guitar. We did a couple of backing vocals as well. And Mike Reid. I sent it to Mike Reid, and he played it on the Heritage Chart show on Sunday because it's gone to number 1.
Listen, this Heritage Chart. How big a listening has it got?
Well, it's in, I can't remember how many hundreds of newspapers around the world, and then it's syndicated as well. And then the TV show is a couple of weeks in sort of like held back. But it's got a couple of weeks, it's on the Talking Pictures channel.
Yeah.
And then,
see, I mean, I don't know, how do they make a living with stuff like this? Is it through advertising or what?
I think so. Yeah, in sponsorship on a program, is thing.
Yeah.
You have to. There's money out there. It's just you just got to find a new way of making it, isn't it? I mean, we did last. Did I tell you about going to Bognor?
You went down to to some. That was to do with.
That was a Heritage Chart. That was the
Heritage Chart.
Yeah, like I walk in. There's little Lamal. Remember Lamal? Never ending story, and you're too shy, hide away. He's still a little fella. And he was lovely. And then the new Bucks Fizz, the Fizz, they were there. Goodness me, those new boys are being bulked up. I tell you.
So are the 2 girls, the original girls?
The original girls are still there, yeah, and they've got these two new boys.
Now one of them, I don't know what her name is.
Cheryl.
There's one of them. Cheryl. What's the other one called?
Jade.
Ashton,
Jay Ashton, something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice girls.
Her father and mother. Yeah. They were a variety act, okay?
Right.
And he was very funny. What was his name? Ted Durant. His name was.
Great name.
And he used to be on TV a lot in the 60s and 70s. He used to do this. He was a strong man, like, and he'd fall on his head, and his head would go into his neck like he broke. It was just a funny knockabout act.
Wow.
And the mother, she looks just like her mother.
Wow.
That girl. And then I bumped into her in Jersey. I was doing a summer season in Jersey back in the 80s. And they were top of the pops then, weren't they? You know, they just won Eurovision and this and the other. And there was this bloke called, what was his name? John Dobson. He owned Fairgrounds and that. He was a multimillionaire. And he wanted to be my manager for some reason or other. Anyhow, long story short, the son was going out with her.
Oh.
Yeah, and I haven't seen her since, of course. Wow. So they're going out on the road, are they?
Yeah, they're going out. They're making new records. They can't be Bucks Fizz because somebody owns the name, so they're the Fizz. They're the
Fizz.
Fizz.
It's like the Whiz, isn't it?
Yeah, or the Fuzz.
Did you ever see that, the Whiz? It was the black version of
Yellow Brick Road.
Yellow Brick Road, yeah.
Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz. Yeah. You got to move on down the road.
Like, yeah.
We could have done that. We should bring it back.
We do it in Welsh. Louder for.
Oh yeah, but we went under. Now the other thing about TheMal. Now this is interesting. I think it's interesting. So I walked in TheMal, and he actually sort of liked my music, which was nice. And he showed me. He said, "Oh, let me show you my playlist." So I had some songs on his playlist. And he said, "Where have you come from today?" I said, "We come from Swansea." He said, "Swansea." Now it's a bit like the story when I first met Eric Morecambe. I've told you that. Eric says, "Where are you from, boy?" I said, "Swansea." He said, "Oh, me and Ernie did our first gig at the Empire together."
Yeah, with Stan Stennett.
Was it? It was Stan on the bill. Of course they were.
Stan was the top of the bill, and they were like
right down the bottom somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, TheMal had been in Swansea for the pantomime with Freddie Lees as in Aladdin in 1979 or something like that.
That must have been with Ryan, was it?
Mr. Chivers was the stage manager, was general manager.
Oh yeah, John Chivers, yeah.
Actually, I did send him the picture because we managed to find a picture for him, which. Anyway, which you know.
Yeah, I worked with John Chilvers. He was a great bloke because he started the rep in Swansea.
Well, let me just check. I've got my TheMal in my phone. I don't talk.
Yeah.
I don't. It was from 1978-79. It was Anne Ashton. Ivor Emanuel was in charge.
Oh, Ivor.
Ivor. Did you know Ivor?
Lovely bloke. I did a programme with him once from the BBC, and he said, "I'm going to retire now." I said, "Why?" Yeah. No, he used to talk like that.
Right.
He said, "I'm retiring." He says, "Your turn now." I said, "What do you mean? You still can sing great?" "No, I'm going to go to live in Spain, see, because I can live there and I can drink my brandy in the morning. Nobody says anything. I can do what I like." And that's what he did. He emigrated to Spain and he died in Spain.
Yeah, he lost all his money.
Do you remember Sian Hopkins?
Yes.
She used to be on Lander's Song with him every week when she was a little girl. She was 14, 15 or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, she married the Welsh actor Ray Smith.
Oh, Ray.
You remember Ray, big staff, Ray? Anyway, he died and she went and lived in Spain and she used to be in touch with Ivor until he passed, you know.
Yeah. Well,
he was a nice bloke, Ivor.
He's from Pontrhydyfen.
I know.
And my dad knew him really well. Terrible story about the Emanuels. Did you hear the story about the Emanuels?
No.
So they obviously Pontrhydyfen. It's like one road along the side of a mountain.
But it's made a load of stars, that little village.
It has. Rebecca Evans, Roger Burton, Ivor Emanuel, and my dad. Anyway, that's what my dad used to say. Anyway, but there were some German bombers that hadn't used their bombs, so they were coming up the valley, and they just sort of like dropped them right across the strip of houses.
Yeah.
And blew up Ivor Emanuel's house. His sister got killed. I think his mother, his father, his uncle, his auntie. I mean, it was just like horrendous. Like, it was no need. When you say no need, it was a war in it, and they do horrible things. But it was just like out of the blue.
They were just like just jettisoning the bombs they didn't want to take back.
Yeah. And my dad, he was lovely. And I think when I got my first audition for HTV in Pontcanna with Eric Weatherall.
Oh, I work with Eric, great arranger and conductor.
Well, all of a sudden, I had a letter saying, "Come for an audition."
Yeah.
And I think it was because I wrote to Ivor Emanuel and said, "I'd like to be a singer." Anyway, went in, and they were very sweet. And then a week or so later, I got a letter saying, "Perhaps you'd have guitar lessons." Wasn't what I wanted to hear, Johnny.
Eric was great. I did some stuff with him for Iron Ogwen Williams. He was the director, Oggy. We used to call him Oggy. Great bloke.
Yeah.
Everything was great, John. It's great, fabulous. And I think it was with Margaret Williams.
Right.
She had a series, and I was on that. That was Eric Weatherall's orchestra. He was one of these blokes, quite modern in his arrangements, very slum him out, way out, you know.
Wow. Okay.
And then he went over, I think, and he was conducting the radio orchestra in Dublin or
Yeah, the RTE. I think he went to RTE, didn't he?
Yeah, but I haven't seen him since. But he's a nice fella.
Yeah, I've still got the letter.
Yeah. There we are. I remember my first audition to become a recording artist.
Yes.
And my father knew a fella that was the manager of the Springfields. Okay.
Oh.
So he was Welsh. There was what was his name? Oh God, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he knew my dad, and so the old man rings him up. He says, "Can you do something for the boy?" And I'm about 18, something like that. Oh, I'll get him a test with Philips Records. So I went up and I did my thing. And Johnny France was the man who was the head of the A&R. Great pianist, Johnny France.
Right.
And he played for me to sing something. And I sang, what did I sing? I Want to Be Around. It was a song by Tony Bennett. You know, I want to be around. Da, da, da. And he played for me. I thought, I've cracked this now. It's great. So I get this letter now with all the crits. He needs some lessons because his breathing's not quite right yet. And he's going through all this stuff. You know? So I didn't get the job. Yeah. And I'm up in arms. I said, Cliff Richards can breathe properly, Dad. But I tell you what, because they said that, my dad sent me then to some opera singer guy to give me some lessons. I was just singing like normal. Then this guy was in Glynneath, I think it was, and he taught me how to produce my voice properly. And touch wood, because he did, I don't lose my voice.
You don't lose your voice. Fantastic.
But I sing in the proper way. You know, you've got to keep it up there, haven't you? And you don't sing through your throat. Yeah. So it did me a bit of good, really. I'm still working.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give Alwyn our love. Any news from Alwyn?
Alwyn, she's done a filming with Mr. Robert Glenister.
Oh.
She's on a series, She's got 4 episodes.
Fantastic.
It's called, what's it called? Hang on. Still Waters. It's a drama.
Right. Okay.
Don't know much about it, but she's got the part of the lady who runs a farm. And what else? She said he's a hell of a nice chap.
Yeah, Swansea boy, see? Swansea family?
Yeah. So she's doing that. And she's got a gig next week with Rhys Evans, his brother, Theo.
Right.
Who's doing a children's show. And he wants her to play the nine, the granny. So
fantastic.
She's doing that.
That's great.
So she's working all the time. So this is me here doing nothing. Right in.
Speaking of me, on our podcast. On a very important podcast. All right, well, look, have a good week. Same time, same place, same channel?
Why not?
Let's keep it going.
As they say in Spanish, ¿por qué no?
What's that mean?
Why not? ¿Por qué no?
¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no?
¿Por qué no? It's great then.
¿Por qué no? All right, well, it's goodbye from the Spaniard.
And it's adios with me.
Cheerio, bye.